that this is the recording for HURM BBA plus HHR. Uh, we are discussing learning unit number 2. And just to please again be mindful that the recording will be posted on the YouTube channel, as well as the notes, also my slides are loaded on ARC and the learning unit number 2 and the respective themes. They are all loaded on there. So again, the objective here is the more we go through them, the better. So please be mindful of that. Next up, again, just be mindful in terms of the assignment due dates. That we'll find them under the Student Hub, as well as under your PAS documents, or alternatively under your excuse me, under your guide for the respective assignment. Next up, again, please be mindful of the added work that have been posted on ARC. I will be posting more work on ARC for learning number 2 during the course of next week. Again, my sincere apologies for doing it this for our collab for this session. It's out of my hands due to connectivity issues where I will be. If there are any concerns or questions and you're not sure of anything, I will then put it in. You can pop in email, or you can give me a shout. Just again for everybody's information, to make sure that is right. Okay, there is my email address, or the other email address that I've got. You can please use that as well. All right, and you can also please see that the slides that are being shared at this time, these same slides are also on, as I said, on ARC and the learning unit number 2 and the respective themes that we are covering. All right. Just to continue, just by way of formalizing the session, we are looking at learning unit number 2, which is in accordance with our ARC program, as well as our learning units, as well as, again, from our study guide, as well as the preparation work that is needed for what we need to do. Again, I'm formalizing the process, so we're looking at human resource management in a process, which will cover from an objective point of view, again, from understanding where we are and what the requirements are. Again, what I'm trying to do, just make it more visible as possible. The learning units that we'll be covering is looking at workforce planning and talent management, identifying the advantages and disadvantages of workforce planning, the planning process, and there are numerous out there. Looking at an outline implementation, a talent management system, define the concept of recruitment and selection, look at advantages and disadvantages, identifying effective placement, which is part of recruitment and select, the differences of performance management, as well as looking at the steps in the performance review process. These all culminate in the requirements that we need to have and put in place for learning unit number 2. Okay. All right. In terms of slides, I will go through my slides that I have put into content for everybody. As I said to you, this will be the base. There'll be more work coming in connection with these slides. In terms of the human resource management process, is a strategic approach to nurture and support employees and ensuring a positive workplace environment in exclusivity. Its recruitment, compensation, its various functions across businesses incorporate recruitment and selection, compensation, benefits, training and development, employee relations, to name but a few. Next up, what is a human resource management process? Quite simply, is a strategic approach to nurturing and supporting employees. In saying that, its functions vary across different businesses and industries, but typically include recruitment, compensation, benefits, training and development, and employee relations, to name but a few. What are the 5 main areas? You know those. What is the resource management process? Okay, the management of resources. Resource management is a series of processes and techniques used to ensure you have all the necessary resources to complete a project or meet business objectives. It also focuses on making the most efficient use of these resources by eliminating waste for more profits and a high return on investment, commonly known ROI. In this process, one thing can clearly see, all right, there are various aspects, but these are just a few, just to bring it into context or bring it into inclusivity. We look at the objective, we look at the manpower current status, we look at the forecasting and demand, we look at the manpower gaps and the appraisal of manpower planning, we then look at T&D and employee plan. All right, the reason why I put it in reverse order, it always does not align itself to, excuse me, as to what we try to do in terms of a process, but the norm in terms of identifying a process will be how does one put it into context and or understanding. I repeat, and or understanding. All right, what is the first step in the recruitment process? It involves to define the resource requirements for the project or organization. This involves identifying the types of resources needed, such as human resources, equipment, materials, and budget. It also includes determining the quality, quantity, and skill required for each resource. A management process is a system of effectively coordinating work activities, action plans, to name but a few. This includes the process which helps to ensure that organization's goals are met. What are the main areas involved in HRM? They are there in front of you. But again, what I want you to take away, it is a process of understanding. Okay. In HR management, there are processes which are applicable to HR planning, recruitment, retention, onboarding, T&D, compensation, benefits, performance management, employee relations, regulatory compliance, and HR analytics. These are just a few that we can mention and highlight, but understand the relevance and what resonates with human resource management of today. And again, to reiterate what happens in the future. A process, quite simply, is a series of techniques that is used to ensure all the necessary resources to complete a project or objective in inclusivity. What is a process flow? A process flow describes the way members of a company's workforce flow through the organization, also known as the employee life cycle. The flow model is used to explain the journey of an employee going through the various contact with the company to their eventual departure. How to set up an HR process? It is in essence to get you clear in terms of understanding what the needs are or objective setting, assess the current state, higher priority roles, sympathize employee records, and formalize your basic HR policies. Develop basic recruitment and onboarding processes to determine and document employee compensation. What is the advantage of having these as an HR strategy? It gives you the vision, a mission, a business strategy, and a marketplace. In delivering of people, excuse me, it looks at your people, your culture, your values, your leadership systems, and performance. What is a workflow in HR? Workflow, in essence, is designed to streamline and automative various HR processes, ensuring efficiency, consistency, and compliance with policy and regulations. And in today's world, as we all know, AI plays a huge role in that eventuality. What are the three basic workflow activities? They are input, transformation, and output, which is applicable across various platforms in the working world. Evolution of HRM, I put this in just to show you how quickly and adaptable things have been over the last 100+ years. In saying that, looking at it today, that graph will climb even higher very quickly over the X and Y axis. Over here, workforce planning, this is an example of one. I stress an example one. There are others out there. You're going to come back and tell me there are others in the workplace, right? The important thing to understand is apply which one is best applied to yourself, okay? Understand what it's meant to be and how you're putting it into context, right? And as I reiterate, there are various ones out there that you can utilize, but again, for what benefits yourself in terms of understanding, okay, you can use this one or you can use the one in the textbook. So why I put this one in, this is the most basic one that is out there from a workforce planning point of view, okay? An example, it includes analyzing the current workforce, determining future workforce needs, identifying the gap between the present and the future, implementing solutions so that organizations can accomplish its mission, goals, and strategic plan. What is a talent and workforce management? Workforce management concentrates on human resources, delivering services. Talent management ensures that you have the right people with the right skills, capabilities for now and the future. Whoops. We've covered that, right? In workforce planning, this is a 5-step process, as I mentioned, but there are others too that you can utilize in terms of a step process. Okay. All right. You'll find another one in the textbook that's a bit longer. You also find ones online that are even shorter and or longer. All right. But the essence here is to look at the process flow of workforce planning. Okay. Here's an example where they have a workforce planning process over just 3 basic lines, which I've added as well, not to confuse you. But again, in this conversation, was there to highlight the workforce planning process. I repeat, the workforce planning process. What are the 7 R's? All right, as you all know, they are the right people, the right skills, the shape, the size, the time, the place, and the cost. We're looking at the right people. What is the difference between workforce planning and talent planning? In essence, workforce planning is the approach towards building a seamless team, whereas talent management's primary role is to keep up a reasonable retention rate. And in today's world, it's more optimal than the better. Okay, that we've covered. While workforce management deals with operational aspects of scheduling, attendance, resource allocation to meet immediate business needs, workforce planning takes a more strategic approach by aligning workforce capabilities with long-term organizational goals. Just to make a note that this came up in the last exam in June of this year. All right, so just make a note of it. And again, look at it in terms of understanding as a process flow. All right. For successful planning, we've covered that. The one thing I want you to take out of here is, again, to please understand the requirements at a successful planning level is to enhance, I repeat, to enhance, okay, what you're trying to achieve at a strategic plan level. Right? I reiterate, at a strategic plan level, incorporating these points of departure or touch points, to put a different word on it. What is talent management specialist? It conducts talent assessments to identify skills, gaps, and opportunities, design training programs to enhance employee performance, facilitate succession planning for future leadership, manage performance appraisals, and guide improvement strategies. Why is workforce planning important? Is the ability and agility in responding to talent shortages, cost and talent optimization, talent management, and flexibility. What are the disadvantages of workforce planning? I think we've covered those. Here, I want you to take away talent management is developed in conjunction with strategic workforce planning, which goes hand in glove. And they are understand the business strategy, conduct workforce analysis, forecast workforce needs, identify workforce gaps, align talent strategy, set objectives, and develop action plans in terms of what you're trying to achieve. And the last but not least is to integrate workforce planning talent management in its entirety. I stress in its entirety. All right, entirety. I cannot stress that enough. Okay, next up. Excuse me. Next up. One needs to understand what the essence are of understanding, of how you put it into context, of identifying the 6 B's of workforce planning. All right. The 6 B's of workforce management implementation is buy, build, borrow, bind, bounce, and boost, which in essence looks at the solution implementation phase of the strategic workforce planning cycle. Okay. Quite important. How do you identify a successful talent manager? The communication, the recruitment, the negotiation skills, strategic planning, and data-driven decision-making and problem solving at an industry source level. What are the benefits of having these? What are the benefits? Proactive talent management, strategic decision-making, increased employee engagement, and talent retention. What is important when it comes to the recruitment and selection process? It is in essence, it involves several steps, which includes job analysis, sourcing candidates, screening resumes, conducting initial interviews, assessing candidates' fit, making a job offer, completing job formalities, creating engagement opportunities, retention, and finally managing the exit formalities. What is human resources or recruiting? Quite simply, it is possible in terms of its process to make a difference between the two. Human resources is responsible for managing employees' files, benefits, and payroll. Understand how this gets into context of understanding and looking at the 7-step recruitment process, which is identifying the hiring needs, preparing the job description, develop and execute a recruitment plan, search for talent, screen and search short-term listings, interview process, and check references, and to make an offer. There it is in front of you. We would have done an exercise now, but what I want you to do now, take a couple of minutes just to go through the importance of recruitment and selection. Again, the importance. This came up in the June exam. So take 2 minutes to go through it very quickly, please. Right. Please, again, in the past exam, please make note of it. Okay. Excuse me. Next up, selection process. There's in front of you. Again, this was a past question in the, probably, I think 2 years ago. A direct 15-mark question in your exam. So please take note of it in terms of the selection process. All right, which is application screening, resume screening, screening call, screening assessments, in-store interview, background checks, reference checks, and again, the job offer. What does recruiting do in HR? Quite simply, it's the process of finding and hiring the best qualified candidate from within and outside an organization for a job opening in a timely and cost-effective manner. What is, okay, we've covered, explain it, yes, what it is. What is HRM recruitment? Okay, we haven't covered that. Recruitment refers to the process of identifying, attracting, and interviewing, selecting, and hiring, onboarding employees. In other words, it involves everything from the organization, from the identification of the staffing needed to fill it, depending on the size of the organization. Recruitment is a responsibility for a range of workers. Here is just to highlight the recruitment process in terms of its entity and its consistency of being processed in terms of people application and people management. What is the best method? All right, there are numerous out there. There is no specific method, but when opportunity arises, the best one must be applied. The goal, excuse me, the goal of recruitment is to find and hire the best candidates, all right? But here I want you to understand one thing, okay? It is vital to be part of human resource management, not in isolation. Again, it is vital to be part of HR management, not in isolation. In essence, it is essential for optimizing the talent acquisition process. HR teams are significantly impacted in terms of its success by focusing on key HR goals, such as reduced time to fill, increased quality of hire, enhancing diversity, improving candidate experience, and boosting employee referrals. The HR recruitment strategy includes the purpose of this document is to provide information on things to consider when building a recruitment strategy. In context of that, there is in front of you. I want you to take 60 seconds. All right. Again, we've done this an exercise, but take 60 seconds to go through that and understand each one. Go. Okay. Next up, what is the term of orientation? Orientation is typically a one-off event that aims to welcome an employee, help them fit into the culture quickly, navigate the role in the company. In contrast, onboarding is a longer, comprehensive process that focuses on the new hire's ability to assume their role and become a proactive member of the team. Job orientation, as you can just mentioned, incorporates roles, objectives, and expectations, introduction to the team, employee policies and benefit information, facilities tour, safety and measure of regulations, and organizational overview. Over here, what is objectives? We just mentioned that. What are the benefits of orientation? Provides the new employees with information that will ease the transition into the workplace. Paints a precise picture of the department and the institution as a whole. Introduces the new employees to departmental goals, policies, procedures, customs, and traditions. Okay. There in front of you is a very basic, but again, effective orientation module around how to best apply it. Next up, performance management, HRM. It is an ongoing continuous process of communicating and clarifying job responsibilities, priorities, prioritizing good performance, expectation, development planning, individuals' performance, and aligns with organization's strategic goals. All right. Here, to go back, it is part thereof, but understand what the difference is between the two. All right. How does HR support performance management? It does so by ensuring that in relation to the goals set and provide regular feedback to employees. Developing the data obtained during the monitoring stage is analyzed, and the results are used to improve employee performance through further training, assigning extra projects. Here's an example of the benefits between performance management tools and or results. In context of this, okay, what is the main function of performance management? It is by fostering intentional talent management, which incorporates ongoing feedback and employee engagement, performance, and management activities to motivate employees and boost employee retention. The disadvantage you can go through at your leisure, but here I want you to take away that it helps to raise and ensure managers, team members don't underperform and help employees through raises, recognition, and development opportunities, inclusive, and this needs to be done sustainably. Why is HR performance important? Is a crucial aspect of human resource management that directly impacts the success of an organization. It provides a significant role in employee engagement, productivity, and talent development. What are the benefits of employee performance management? Increased retention, productivity, identifying retention, looking at training needs, define and deliver career paths, set and track clear goals, reduce micromanagement, build autonomy and accountability, and increase organizational performance, to name but a few. In front of you there's a slide in terms of the 4 steps of planning, monitoring, developing, rating, and rewarding at a continuous level of looking at the performance management process in its entirety. All right. Those are the slides that I have for you. Again, it's a blended approach in terms of the slides versus what is on ARC. So please make sure if you have any questions, I will then put it on ARC tomorrow morning if there's any questions for everybody. Okay, but now just to clarify for everybody, all the slides are loaded on ARC in terms of learning unit number 2. I will load the recording now onto the YouTube channel, as you all know, of the 2 areas that you can find the YouTube. So the 2 YouTube channels. If you have any question or sure of, please pop me an email and I'll gladly support you as best as I possibly can. All right. If there's nothing else, anybody, I think just the one thing I just want to go back on to make sure everybody's on the same page in looking at that. But again, I want you to take specific note of all the slides that we've covered in learning unit number 2, looking at human resource management process and making sure that you have all your objectives met. If you have any questions, please. All right, let me close off the session. 1 second there. All right, guys, thank you very much for your time and thank you for listening to the session. Please take a note of the recording. I will stop sharing the files now. I will stop the recording. But again, if you have any questions, please reach out and let me know via VC. In fact, just in case anybody does not know, at ie.ac.za. That is my other email address. So please reach out if you have any questions. I look forward to chatting to you in 2 weeks' time again. Study hard, enjoy, look after yourselves. Chat soon. Take care. Bye-bye.